If you're looking for strategic and actionable business advice, then you've come to the right place. Each week, we will provide you with valuable information that will help you grow your practice's profitability. Hi, I'm Sabrina, and welcome to Chiropractic Purpose to Profits. We will be your guides to creating a profitable practice and an abundant lifestyle. Whether you're just starting out or have been in practice for years, we have something for everyone. So make sure you subscribe and turn on the notifications so that you never miss an episode. In this week's episode, we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to share with you an excerpt from last week's webinar that we had. We're going to be talking about the 3 truths of Profit First. Enjoy. So I'm just going to start off with a little story here. This is about one of the clients that we worked with. When we started first working with this client, they had what you would say is like a dream practice. A lot of people use that top line revenue number, and the revenue this practice was generating was well over $500,000 a year. Well, it sounds great. The reality is, when you looked beneath the surface, that this doctor was drowning in debt. Her home life was falling apart, and she just dreaded going to practice every day. She had lost why she had opened the practice in the first place, because it had become so stressful managing the debt and the load of what the practice had become. Even though when you look at the revenue number, you would say, oh, that's a great target revenue number. I'd be so happy to be there. So this doctor found Profit First and came to us and said, can you help me implement Profit First? And within weeks of implementing the system, there was just a transformation in the whole practice. The doctor was more engaged, the patients more engaged, the staff was more engaged, the doctor was more open to the future, and what could she do to make her life better? Her home life was improving, her relationships with her kids were improving. It just made such a difference. And she had in the past tried to implement several growth strategies, but they never resulted in the increased results that she needed for her practice, because she wasn't starting with the financial plan and the financial foundation that she needed in order to make these revenue boosting strategies work and make a difference from her practice. And I remember the second call we had with her, you could just see that such a weight had been lifted off her shoulders since she had implemented Profit First. So traditional accounting is holding your practice back. If you think about traditional accounting, you calculate profits by taking sales minus expenses equals profits, which makes profits be the bottom line, the last thing you think about, something you hope and pray comes to about at the end of the year. It's something you can never really quite grasp until we've reached the end. And that's not really where you want to make changes. You need something that will help you gauge how you're performing as you go along. Because the reality is, when you get to the end and there's nothing left for you, it leaves you feeling defeated, frustrated, and angry. And that's not a great mindset to be using when you're trying to grow a practice. In this model of a traditional accounting, you're constantly trying to control your way to having a profitable practice. You're trying to learn how you can cut expenses, you can cut back. You're just looking at everything with such a scarcity mindset. And this just leaves for a lot of frustration, anger, and resentment. And it doesn't really lead you to be in a mindset where you're trying to grow, be better, learn more, and expand. It keeps you from thinking of possibilities. So this is why in Profit First, we flip the formula. And this is one of the most important parts of the entire system. It seems so simple. And when you look at it, you might be thinking, well, you just moved one thing here and put it there. Like, how is this different? Now the formula is revenue minus profit equals operating expenses. So that slight little shift, now profit is what we're trying to control. And the operating expenses are what have to live with what's left over. They're the ones that have to deal with it when the bank account runs low. The operating expenses are the ones that get cut out when you don't have enough left over, not you. And when you think about that, it's a huge signal to your brain that says you are important, you matter, and the future stability of your practice matters. And that's a very different mindset to work from. It's one of abundance, one where you're putting yourself first, you're putting your needs first, because you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're showing up to your practice angry, frustrated, and resentful, there's no way you're going to be able to make changes that are meaningful and be able to move your practice towards the goals at which you want to achieve. So just think about that when you're looking at your finances. You really want to start thinking about profitability as the thing that matters, because that's your reward for the risk that you took taking and opening a practice. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you just go and work for somebody else? You wouldn't have the stress of running a practice. You wouldn't have the stress of managing patients, or you're managing your office staff or anybody who works for you. You can just go make the same amount of money and then just go home at the end of the day. But that's not what you want. You want to have a practice that gives you profits and it creates a sustainable and secure financial future for you and your family. So the truth is that managing your finances can be simple and easy. And we're going to get into this a little bit later, but you could see she can manage her finances and understand her financial picture right from an iPad, right from your phone, right from a text message. There are ways in which you can make managing your finances not be overwhelming, stressful, and anxiety ridden. Truth, too, is that creating a financial plan is critical to achieving your goals. Just how we talked about that doctor at the beginning who didn't have a financial plan, doctors that we worked with who had clear financial plans easily achieved their goals. And one example of this was a doctor we worked with whose stories throughout the book, she opened her brand new practice like the week COVID hit and her whole state shut down. But she came into practice knowing that she wanted to use Profit First. She had heard about it and she came to us and said, okay, well, I heard about Profit First. How do I make it work for my chiropractic practice? So we walked her through setting up the whole system and the targets that she needed to meet and the goals she needed to achieve by the end of the year. And lo and behold, this doctor, by using her plan, was able to capitalize on an amazing opportunity that came at the end of 2020. One of her neighboring suite members moved out, and she was able, because she had the cash saved, she was able to double the size of her practice and move into the suite next door. If she hadn't started her practice with the idea of being profitable in mind and setting herself up for future financial security, she probably would not have been able to capitalize on that, which would have hurt the future of her practice forever. So you really have to be sure that you're creating a financial plan, and Profit First can help you do this so that you can achieve your goals, whatever they be, for your practice. And truth 3 is that Profit First for chiropractors will work for any practice of any size, of any length of time you've been in practice. I don't care if you've been in practice for 1 day, 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, it doesn't matter. Because it's based on percentages, it's flexible, it can grow with income size, and you can make it fit your needs. You can make it be what you want it to be. So you're no longer trying to fit into what other people think is a successful practice. You can make it work for you. So one of the things that I love the most about Profit First, and talked about it a little bit so far, is the mindset that it puts you in. Because of the change in the formula and putting profit first, you've set yourself up to think about your practice in a way in which, how can I be more innovative? How can I do more with less? How can I be more creative in how I function? This is such a great way to look at your practice. It's more engaging, it's more fun versus the way that traditional accounting has you look at your practice, which is, how can I spend less so I can make less because I come last? This is a terrible way to look at your practice, and nobody really wants to come to their business thinking like that. It doesn't, we're all want to be innovative and creative and happy in what we do every day. And that's one of the reasons probably why you come to work, is you want to be there and provide the best service possible to your patients. And Profit First helps you do that by forcing you to think in ways that are totally different than you've probably ever thought about your practice before. There's so many things that if you just looked at it, instead of how can I spend less, how can I do more, that it just brings more fun, creativity. It sparks that joy again, because everybody likes to solve puzzles that have outcomes that are happy versus outcomes that are sad. So now your focus, when you focus on innovation, you're focused on possibilities, the future. How can you achieve your goals through innovation versus spending less?